everybody, it's Chris, and we are in the other side of my almost thought about might be finishing it basement, where the noisy wooden chairs live. And what is this pile of crap? Well, this is a HP Pentium 4, 512 megs of RAM. And I got crap all over the place, and I had to move on this side because, whoops, I had to move on this side because I ran out of room on the workroom side. That's useless information. But it's Friday night, we got some wobble pops, and we're going to see what we can tickle this old girl with. So I have an assortment of video cards. This is an ATI 9800 almost graphics processor. I have another ATI Rage something Mach 64. This card I don't think is compatible. You gotta be like TNT2 or Rage or something like that on PCI here. 3DFX Intergraph 3FX Voodoo Rush card with a cat hair in it that I repaired a while back on the old microscope deal. And up here I got the big mama of performance for the day. Whoa. This is a GeForce 8800 GT. She's PCI Express. So this motherboard's a little bit too old for that. But that doesn't mean we're done. We're going to keep on going. As long as these keep on going, I'll keep on going. I went out and bought myself another power supply. This is a cheapo 600 watt with non-modular doohicculars. Chairs are really noisy. I found another motherboard under my stairs, and I figured, let's just, why not? So I have my pile of CDs here that I burned from the other Amithlon build, and we're going to just use that to see how far we can get on this one. Hey Chris, why don't you stop talking and turn something on? So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if these work, but I know this one will. So this is a 40 gigabyte C-Crate Barracuda ATA4. So I'm just going to do the right thing and pull these out. Nice. So, where was I? I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to go into F2, which is the setup for the computer, and that's blue. Why is that blue? Alright. September 11th. Wow, that's not right. Well, for today it is. It'll be September 11th. Terrorist Day. I'm going to leave everything alone. I'm just going to go in and see if it detects my hard drive here. Auto. That sounds good. Does it detect? Oh, it detects the CD-ROM too. Well, we're just going to save changes and exit. And we're going to let her eat off of this, so DVD-RW. Surprised it's got a DVD-RW in it. It's a Pentium 4 1.7. I think that's wrong. I think it's a 283. I don't know if I'm waiting for this test. It's got 512 megs of RAM in it. Press any key to continue. Okay. Loading off of the disk. And something happened. Oh, boing ball. Doesn't look really good. So I don't know if this video card is going to be supported for hardware acceleration. But it should be enough to get you rolling. Now, that's not how you build an Amithlon machine. But this is kind of how I do it. So I have 8 megs of chip, 500 megs, 467 meg of fast, right? What I like to do is I like to go into the Amithlon HD Tools HD Toolbox. Depending on the number of IDE controllers is the number of Amithlon, second Amithlon, third Amithlon devices you'll see. I have a primary and a secondary IDE. Click on that one and choose OK. Here's my 40 gig drive. I'm not going to click install because this still is a computer. Yeah, it's a computer. This guy has to, it's a PC, so it still has to have like a DOS, x86, Linux grub, whatever kind of boot, QNX, to get to a place where it can load the Amiga, Amithlon, AmiBox, GZ, whatever kernel. I'm going to bump this camera here. There we go. So I know that it sees it, I know it sees my light on, and I know it boots, and it looks pretty nice and clear actually. What do you think? So what do I need to do now? I need to boot off of Freedos, bottom CD. So we're going to let it boot off of the old Freedos CD. Alright, so here's Freedos. We're just going to press enter to boot Freedos from CD. And we're going to do Freedos live CD only. Now, when I did this before, she got a little blurry. I'm hoping it doesn't get too blurry before. So now what you do. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to XF disk. Why is that clicking when I type? You hear that? XF disk uses the following info. I don't care. So I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to say new partition primary, and I'm going to give it 100 megs. That's just for it to boot. So I'm going to say start. Yes, I want to initialize a partition, and I'm going to say no for the whole partition. Why? Because I need the extra space. This is going to be my boot for the computer PC side to boot Amithlon. This is going to be where I carve out my hard drives in HD Toolbox. So you need to change the partition type to 76, but you still need to create a partition. So we're going to go enter, new partition, primary, all of it, let it eat. We're going to say no. It's going to say hidden partition, FAT32, but no. We're going to press enter again, and we're going to say change partition type. This is all just pressing enter to other. Hex number has to be 76, and then we're saying no again. Now, not available. No file system, type 76, not available. So I have FAT16, less than 32 or greater than 32 megs, primary partition 102, the rest Amiga type 76, and down here it says F3 to quit, and we're going to write the partition, and yes, it needs to be restarted. Now we're going to boot the Freedos CD again. Okay, we're just going to press enter to boot off of the Freedos live CD, and we're going to choose Freedos live CD only. I use Freedos because it's fast. We're going to do format C says sys and YE. Whoops, you have to type the whole. I did type the whole word. It's not my fault. Your keyboard reading can't understand my typos. Oh, I guess I could just type up arrow YES. There we go. All right, so we did kernelsystemcommand.com. That is what Freedos uses for its boot sector kernel name. Now, if I go to C drive and do a directory, I have command.com and kernel.sys. Awesome sauce. I need to copy Freedos. So with the Freedos CD in here, I think it was drive letter X. Yep. If you go into the Freedos directory, and then you go into the CD setup, and then there's another one called Odin. That is where the DOS files are. Now, if you wanted to be all fancy and you like your directories clean, you could make a directory on C called DOS and path it and do all that fancy stuff. Not me. You're not going to be in here that much. So copy star.star to C and let it eat. Now, since you made your disk a system disk and you said format C/sys, it's going to try and overwrite the two command com and the other file that it sets up. So don't get your finger stuck in the bottle. Just say no to the two files that it's going to ask you to update, which is going to be the command com and whatever the other one was. I forget. Kernel.sys, that would be it. So say no on that guy too. And that's it. Alright. So we've copied DOS, right, to our C drive. Should I reboot? Eventually. But what we're going to do is this. I'm going to eject the Freedos CD while it's running because I need access to the drive, the MSCDEX volume, which makes PCs have a CD drive. I'm putting in the Amiga OS XL. I've covered this in my previous video. We need to copy out the two text files, Amithlon and small. We need to copy out the three kernels, big IRD, small IRD, and emubox.gz, which is like the Kickstarter, and the loadlin.exe. So let's go back to X and CD to the root. And here is the ISO, the 39 CD. Can you see that clearly? We're going to go to the ISO Linux directory. I don't know what that key repeat beep is on here. It must be turned on in the BIOS. And in here, you can do a directory. Here's the big IRD. I call it Big Bird because it's easier on the brain, especially for me. So what you want to do is you want to copy your big IRD, the emubox.gz, small small ird.gz, and loadlin.exe. You could, I guess, copy everything. It really doesn't matter, but you don't need all that stuff. So we're going to do copy star.gz to C, right? Big IRD, or big bird, small bird, emubox.gz. We're going to copy Amithlon, and then we're going to copy SMAL to C. And then we're going to copy loadlin.exe to C. Alright, so we copy big IRD, small IRD, emubox. Or big IRD GZ, emubox.gz, small IRD.gz, Amithlon, after a couple typos, small. These are text files where you define your kernel. Loadlin, which of course loads these guys. Are you done? Not quite. So I'm going to stick the old kernels disk in here. That's kernel 310 and kernel Sanders, kernel 4. There we go, kernel 310 and kernel 4. Sorry, Hofbrau's in the way. Is that the edit? Okay. So I'm sorry if you really can't see this, but I don't want to get the monitor so close where she starts doing the focal dance. So we're going to copy these two kernels, star.star to C. Kernel 310 and kernel 4. You can name them whatever you want, but that's what they were named, and that's what I'm naming them. So are we done now? Sorta. We're done with CDs. Alright, you can take that out. You're good. Go back to your C drive here. Now, remember those two files I was telling you about? Amithlon and small? Well, what you can do is you can do copy small, small 4, right? So now I have small and small 4. The text file Amithlon, I'm going to leave alone. Think of that like your Amiga OS 3.9 emergency boot floppy, right? Has all your stuff in it, knows your SCSI controller, she just works. It'll also put that Amithlon CD looking Amithlon HD on your desktop, which is what I'm going to use to build this. But what I'm going to do is I'm first going to edit my file. So I need to edit Amithlon. It starts off here with emubox.gz. That's the kernel we're currently rocking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this KRN310. And all I'm doing is telling it to load kernel 310. And we're going to save that. And we're going to go ahead and exit. So I'm going to edit small 4. It's the same file, but I'm going to make this kernel 4. That clicking is really getting on my nerves. Now, are we done? Yeah, we're done. So we're going to reboot. And we're going to let the PC load off of its own self because there's no disks in the drive. And what you're going to notice is you're going to get yelled at from fdconfig.sys. Freedos uses this little puppy to bypass an autoexec.bat. Alright, so you saw it bypass the config sys. You got to edit a config sys. When you're done, nuke this fdconfig.sys. And then it'll boot off like a regular old DOS piece of crap computer. I don't worry about that right now until I'm done because I like the pause. If you edit your autoexec.bat and you put loadlin at small, it's going to just roll every time automatically like a normal PC, Amiga, Mac, whatever would boot. If you need to, you can Control C the autoexec, Shift F5, whatever. But for cat hair on my daggone finger. For now, what we're going to do is we're just going to leave her like this. We're not doing sound cards or anything quite yet. So we're going to do loadlin at Amithlon. You could do loadlin small for kernel 3 or small 4 for kernel 4, depending on your processor. Sometimes with the Pentium4 I have to use kernel 3 or she just won't work. But since the CD booted, I'm presuming it's going to load. Your results may vary. It's just play with it. You see the boing ball? You're pretty good. The colors look okay. Before it looked kind of weird off the CD. Usually if you get this far, you'll see the hard drive rolling and you're booted. Now you're like, okay Chris, where's that hard drive you made? In step 1, when we did the FreeDOS setup, we made our 100 meg partition. We made the rest of it 38 gigs, 39 gigs, whatever, type 76. That's so this guy can see it. We are booted off my hard drive. There is nothing in the CD. The finger chopper here is, empty. So a pet peeve of mine is the backdrop, so I have to just snapshot the window because that's how Jesus did it. Since we loaded the Amithlon, that puts this emergency boot disk thing up. Go into Amithlon HD, run Tools, HD Toolbox. Depending on how many IDE controllers you have in your box or SATA, you'll see the number of Amithlon devices. Some of mine have 4, so I see 1, 2, and 3, and the Amithlon device. So we're going to click OK on this Amithlon device. Now, you see all these turkeys? Never choose your top guy, because the top guy is your actual hard drive. Whoa, sorry about that. So if you choose this top, if it doesn't say vert disk, don't click on it, because you'll undo all that crap you did on the Freedos, the partition, all the copying crap. It's just gone. You got to start all over. How do I know this? I've kind of done this a few times. So choose your virtual disk, and it's going to say, hey, this drive isn't installed yet. Do you want to install this? Destroys any data if it's installed on another computer or OS. Want some of this? There you go. We'll click OK. So then you're going to see right here we have Vert Disk 1 is the manufacturer's name, and I like to leave it that because it kind of gives me a idea of what we're going for. Don't worry about any of these guys. Kind of like 314. It might say some funky stuff. Just click install and say OK. Now your drive is ripped up into 37 gigs, and it's going to slice her into some partitions that don't make any sense. So click Partition Drive. We have an 8 gig sys partition. Now what we're going to do is we're going to delete everything here because this does support large partitions, but we're going to drag her down. Like I said, don't worry about these numbers because if I have nothing, it's still 1.33 billion something. So I like to make the first one just a little small, and then I'll click somewhere else and say make a new one. That's cool. And you don't have to leave them named VDH0 or VDH1. You can make it DH0, DH1, but for this purpose, I'm not. Important safety tip. When you first do this, you're going to be tempted to tickle this little button right here. Don't do it. You don't want this to be bootable yet. Because if you screw up and you need to reboot off of their CD thing, the virtual disks have a higher boot priority than your CDs. So you're going to be stuck at one of those Amiga DOS, you can't do nothing screens, and you're screwed and got to start all over. Important safety tip. So we're not going to tickle that. We're just going to say save. When you say exit, it's going to ask you to reboot. So a reboot's required to do all your crap. Well, you don't have to fully reboot since it's kind of like emulated through that kernel. Watch this. Just does this soft restart, and you're going to notice 2 dudes pop up. VDH0 uninitialized and some kind of weird something. There we go. We're at 2.657 megs. 2650. Man, hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wobble pops. Apologies in advance. So we're going to format DH0. We're going to call it system. We're not going to put the trash can. I'm going to capitalize that S because I like it. And I'm choosing no trash can fast file system. We're going to choose quick format and then the normal Amiga format. And just hit yeah, you're sure. There's system. We're going to repeat the process for the DH1. It's 34 gigs as you can see. Hopefully. There. You can make it whatever you want. I'm just going to call this one work. And international mode, fast file system, quick format. Yep. Cool. When I had to reboot after those partitions, if I would have made them bootable, that would have been it. So now with the Amithlon HD, you're good. Go ahead and plop in your 3.9 XL CD here to your old doohickey drive. Hey, I need that open, please. Well, there we go. Give the old Tanya Harding. So now that you got your Amithlon CD in, Amiga OS XL, go ahead and go into your 3.9 and go ahead and go through your install. Choose use RAM disk because God knows you're going to have enough of it. And while it's doing that thing, go back into the tools and just kind of get HD Toolbox ready because you're going to be doing that. I'm going to quit Amidoc because I don't need it right now. So while this is unpacking, which literally takes maybe 30 seconds, and the install is less than a minute. You're going to have to go back into HD Toolbox when she's done and tick off that bootable. Alright, so we're going to choose Install OS 3.9, including Boing Bag 1, and the OS XL software, including Update 1. You can go back later on and do your AWeb Genesis and Amiga mail. Completed. It can be found in your system drawer partition. Cool. Remember what I was telling you about that guy? So go ahead and launch HD Toolbox. Choose Amithlon.device. Choose your virtual disk 1. Do not choose the top ST or you'll wipe your stuff. Check Partition Drive, and all you have to do is check off bootable here. Just give it a little tickle and say save and exit. Now you're good to go. You can go ahead and eject your drive here. So take out the XL CD, and you can now if you wanted to make sure it's booting off of your thing, you can just hit print screen R or control left Windows, right Windows, and that'll reboot it, and it will load, as you can see here, off the hard drive. Bam, and I'll get the XL backdrop. That's how you know you're booted off your stuff. Why do I still have this Amithlon HD? It's kind of a dupe from last time because that's the kernel I loaded. If I don't want it, I'm going to shut it off, right? Now I'm going to turn it back on. What's going to happen? It's going to go back through Freedos and put you at a DOS prompt. If I like how this is working, I will delete the fdconfig.sys from Freedos, and I will edit in autoexec.bat, put in the load lin at whatever I want. I'm going to do small, so this is my test not to use the at Amithlon. We're going to load lin at small. Small is the one where we're using kernel 3 now. That way I can put on the newer updates that support USB, PCI network cards, and I'm still getting this weird ghosting effect. So that's a kernel 3 thing. And you won't see Picasso 96 until after you put the support pack 1 on. And I forgot to snapshot that window. So here we are in regular, it says get Boing to Amiga OS, got it, XL, Amiga OS XL, and about 40.63, 45.2. Now's the time where you can take care of your other things, like all of your programs, and that's where you're going to get into all these burning CDs, more Amiga OS, Amiga emulator, Poseidon, music and tools and patches. There we go. So because it's 3.9, you have the unarch archiver built in. You have a lot of base programs. Now if you are smart like I'm not, you could have burned all this stuff to one Amiga OS XL CD. When you wrote the CD, copy all that crap back out, make another folder in there. You got 650 megs to play with. The disk is like 40. Put all your kernels, all your drivers, all the crap that you need on one disk, so you don't have to keep flip-flopping like this guy does. Now this is my way. You can do it your own. Go to volumes, go to your whatever, and I'm going to do this Boing Bag 9_2. Well, actually no. Update 1 was installed with the Boing Bag 1. So there's an Amithlon Update 1, or Contrib Pack 3, 13B, and 131. So I'm going to do this one. Okay, it's destination. You have enough of it. We're going to choose RAM. Okay, start. When that one's done, we're just going to go back. We're going to do the, I guess it's Contrib 3.1. Same destination, start. You don't have to reboot on these. That's why it makes it nice. Boing Bag 3.9-2 to RAM, start. Do you see how fast this is rolling? So that's just the 3. What we're going to do is we're going to go Amithlon update, working on installation, proceed, and you have to use the new kernel, put it in system. Is this a Pentium 4 system? For me, yes. And then pretty much, yes, I want network drivers, yes, I want audio, proceed. And I think I accidentally said patch. Okay. PCI INS mod to nil. That's up to you. If you don't have any PCI cards that have to search for Linux drivers, that's a little bit more advanced. You can say yes, but you might get an error that pops up on the old startup sequence. So I'm going to say skip this part, and it's done. Now we're going to do Boing Bag 3.2. We can close, I guess, this in a minute. Here's Boing Bag 3.2. Now I'm blasting through this. This is farther than I normally do. intermediate user, whatever, system, proceed. You can choose install the ROM update on this one, because your XL, it'll just do it. And you have to insert your XL CD. It's super fast, as you can see. And I apologize if I'm zoomed out a little bit too much. Remove all your disks and reboot your Amiga. Print screen R or control left Windows, right Windows on a Windows keyboard to reboot this. It reboots Opus, C, and then rename directory Opus to DO, copy DOC. DO. Alright, that was my quick and dirty directory Opus. Now I have directory Opus, and you could just copy this right there. Whoops. That way, if you wanted a visual and something that you could stick in Amidoc, you could then drag this sucker here in the Amidoc, where I could just click it and have some file management. Now, what about USB? You gotta have USB on this sucker. Yeah, well, USB requires MUI. Install MUI. I'm just saying novice. Just do it. Don't care. Done. Now we're going to install Poseidon. Poseidon, install. This is my actual copy. Proceed, proceed. There is an issue where if you have Poseidon 3.8 and it's timed, like your USB works for 5 minutes, you can just install, well, this is 4.5. It doesn't require the time limit anymore. So this is 4.5. What was the one I had with the other guy? 4.4. So my copy's newer than that one. Don't need any of that, but go ahead. Proceed, proceed, proceed. Yes, yes, fine, whatever, whatever, whatever. Great. Alright, so Poseidon's installed, but now I have to put that Iraq Attack thing on there. Iraq Attack is basically the USB driver for Amithlon and OpenPO. I would read the rest of it, but I can't read it. We're going to install it. Important thing is you choose the old Amithlon USB device in English, and a Poseidon installation was found. We're going to set up a new configuration. This packet provides a patch for HID. If you want to use a USB keyboard, go ahead. It's going to automatically search for any USB controllers you have and set them up. If auto detection doesn't work, added the lines. For some lines have to be added to your user startup. Rock on. And it's installed. Now I'm going to reboot again because that's what Jesus would do. And I'm just going to put in a 32 gig Maxter tickle stick right there. And as you can see, got the 32 gig tickle stick, and we have stuff. And here's my Amiga 2000 backup with lots of crap on here. Now it looks a little weird because I got the old Magic Workbench, and I haven't set a screen mode yet, and I don't know if this video card supports hardware acceleration. But if you're really interested, I highly suggest you check out the Snakebitten Amiga or Amithlon blog, which I have linked in the first description. I'll link again in this one. He is the best documentation on setting this up, bar none. He's what I used when I was interested in Amithlon, learning about it, what it was. Yes, I know it's old. Yes, I know you can run WinUAE. Do I care? So, for those of you that give a crap and like to support this, or just enjoy tinkering with archaic junk to see if you can polish a turd, it's great. So let's see if I can get accelerated graphics. So we're going to go into preferences. We're going to go into screen modo. If you don't see a boatload here, you don't have an accelerated card. This card is a GeForce 7600 DT from XFX. So that means I got to tickle through all these other cards to see which one's hardware accelerated. Anything TNT2, Rage, 53 through 5600 is all supported. Oh, there's the sound drivers, the AHI, need that. Really, I gotta do all this crap? Where's the installer? I'm lazy. That gives you sound, but I don't have any speakers hooked up, so it really doesn't matter. I have some new directories that I copied here, and I'll just snapshot them. We're going to go to benchmarks, and we're going to run sysspeed. I'll run your stupid SysInfo in a minute. Chill out. So we're going to go into main, and we're going to say system info. This is an Amiga 5612 at 1120 megahertz. I don't know why. You haven't had these. These caramel M&ms are quite delicious. And all the usual stuff. Great. CPU, 160 MIPS, 664.65 megaflops. When I said Pentium 4, I thought this was a better Pentium 4. I think it's a Pentium 4 like, woo! It's designed for Windows XP, and it says Pentium 4. It don't say Hyperthread. It don't say Core 2. It says Pentium 4. So this sucker, that's why it's turds. Graphics I'm not going to bother because I'm not accelerated right now. So look, this isn't the supermodel of Amigas, but it's kind of cool. And these turds always think I'm running at 0 megahertz. 6840 FPU MMU, doesn't have any custom chips. It did find Paula 8364 in Gale, Picasso 96, 8 mega chip, 512 mega fast, Kickstart 3.1, Workbench 3.9, Workbench 3.9. Your computer's Amiga 1000, run by Ultimate Amiga Emulator Emulation 000. And pull this out. We should get a Poseidon message that a flash drive was removed. We'll just toss that right there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it off. Why? We're going to turn it back on. We're going to test Kernel 4, Colonel Sanders, plowing down M&ms and 5-6 wobble pops. We're going to load Amithlon, load Lin at small 4. Small 4 was the previous one where we added the Kernel 4. Now this is very picky. This is more for advanced Amithlon setups where you have PCI Express, SATA hard drives, a more modern system, 2016, 2015 on, something that is like pretty normal. I mean, this is new for Amiga stuff. Well, let's see what small 4 does. Kernel 4 was written by a different person. It's all on Snakebitten's blog. It's yelling about a frame buffer. So it's trying to accelerate the card, but it's loading a frame, having a frame buffer error. For S&Gs, let's see if there's any increase in performance. I doubt it. Actually, 157 megaflops, 644.25 MIPS, or megaflops. You read it. That's great. System info, 6840, 1255 megahertz. So Kernel 4 did do a little bit for me. Cool. Costa 96, 640 by 488 bit. But that's it for me. Pentium 4 number 2. I don't know if I posted the other video yet. If I did, you probably already saw it. If not, I got another video on a more modern Pentium 4. Core 2, SBC, FS77C. I put a Amithlon on that. Same thing, unaccelerated graphics. But, USB, it runs pretty good. It'll run games and crap, just like my other video on part 2. If you haven't seen that yet. If I posted it. But that's it. Start to finish build on a HP, I don't know what this is, piece of crap, Pentium 4, 40 gig hard drive, GeForce 7600 GT. I'll put all that crap in the description below. But if you want to build one, that's it. Soup to nuts, start to finish. There's more patches to put on. You can check out the blogs. You can download the newer files. You can add PCI hardware and download the PCI files for them. I didn't even check if my network works. I don't know. You can. Let's see. Oh, I got a stack. 65535. I don't have a mod, but let's do PCI scan and see if we get any PCI devices detected. Probably. Yeah, so we have a network card, USB, AC97, so I'd have sound, and I do have a LAN controller, 82801 LAN controller. So I'd have all my hardware if I just went through it, and you can do that too. So I hope this helps you in your decision to build a 20-year-old piece of hardware, 19-year-old piece of technology, just because it hasn't been seen in so long. I know very few people that run Amithlon, Amiga OS XL. That's what I'm calling it, because I get tired of that name Amithlon. It just doesn't sound right. XL sounds so much better. So that's it. I think I said that's it like 8 times now. Wobble Pops, chocolate M&ms, and Amiga stuff. Thanks for watching, and as always, I hope you'll learn something.